Florida's top target, really their only target right now, is Jim McElwain. Welcome back. I'm Marc Whiteman.
Some great defense there by Carly Ross, who's going to get the easy goal.
What's the legacy of this Gator senior class? Three-time national champion and 21-time All-American Bridget Sloan, take it away. The McDonald's High School All-Americans were announced yesterday, and Gator basketball fans everywhere were ba-dum-bum-bum-bum, loving it. At this time of year, hope springs eternal. After all, everyone's undefeated, right? And Florida fans just excited to get their first chance to watch this year's Gators this weekend at the Orange and Blue debut. The people and teams you'll meet all share a common thread: competition. But no two stories are the same. A team fights perceptions leveled against their high school and community the only way they know how. A collection of university students are among the best in the world at what they do. And finally, for fun, you'll get a unique look at Florida gymnastics that just might make you dizzy. It's Orange and Blue weekend here in Gainesville, and that means the Florida Players Network back together for their blue carpet extravaganza. But this one just a little bit different. It's honoring Danny Werfel and the Desire Street Ministries. We had a chance to catch up with a bunch of Gator greats before the fundraiser tonight. Let's see what they had to say. Circling back around to the coaching carousel in college football, Michigan fired Brady Hoke today. So with Michigan opening and obviously Florida opening as well as Nebraska, those are three premier jobs in college football. For all the excitement and hype that goes into a rivalry game like this at 7:30 on Friday night, only one thing's going to matter: what happens between those four white lines. Over his previous 4 games, Taylor got 21 carries and turned that into only 68 yards and no touchdowns. Not very good, but on Saturday, KT came up huge, getting 25 carries, more than he'd had in his last 4 games combined, and elitely churning out 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is good. In short order, Jim McElwain's turned around the Colorado State Rams in his first stint as head coach. We're joined now by our sports director and ESPN 850 WRUF radio host, Steve Russell. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Florida fans looking for the offensive guy. It certainly seems like McElwain might be the one. What would Gator fans get if Jim McElwain is indeed the next head coach? It could never have ended any other way, though, could it? With the San Francisco Giants winning their 3rd World Series in 5 years, the largest of those Giants now a king among men. Madison Bumgarner at 6'5", large in size and stature, dominant in power and prowess, a southpaw with a southern drawl more befitting a banjo player than the postseason's most unhittable shooting star. Yet just 2 days removed from a 117-pitch complete game, pressed into Game 7 action last night, the likeliest hero in the unlikeliest of spots. So you're saying there's a chance 8-9 matchup for the Gators today taking on Alabama. Dorian Finney-Smith had himself a day. Eli Carter can't get it to go, but Dodo right there to clean it up and throw it down. He had 12 at the half. Second half, more of the same for Dodo. Hits the big triple there, got the fans involved. That's the real hair, by the way. He led the Gators with 23 points, 11 boards. Alex Murphy put him in the spin cycle, big fella. And then later, Chris Chioza, good look himself, but he's going to make the extra pass. Dodo, he'll take all 3 of those. Thank you very much. Florida pulls away in the second half, and the Gators win 69-61. Their reward, a Friday afternoon date with undefeated Kentucky. He wasn't carried off the field victorious against Florida State on Saturday like so many hoped, on the shoulders of his players like Ron Zook a decade before him. Instead, Will Muschamp's tenure ends with his head held high. The blame, he says, falls squarely on his shoulders. Welcome back. I'm Marc Whiteman. For all intents and purposes, Florida's 2014 season ends much the same way so many of their games have ended over the past 2 years, in bitter disappointment. Florida couldn't capitalize on Jameis Winston's mistakes. He tossed 4 picks, but the Gators offense failed to execute in null territory, leading to 6 field goal attempts by Austin Hardin, who made 4. Ultimately, FSU did just enough to win, eking out a 24-19 victory. So, with the regular season over, Jeremy Foley's search kicks into overdrive. Hugh Freeze has been mentioned in multiple reports as being at the top of Florida's short list. He's turned Ole Miss around quickly since taking over as head coach of the Runnin' Rebels in 2012. Reports have surfaced that the Gators have offered Freeze a contract in the range of $4 million annually. And another name that's emerged is former Crimson Tide offensive coordinator Jim McElwain, who's in his first stint as head coach. He's quickly turned around the Colorado State Rams with a highly potent offense that's made a ton of vertical plays down the field. And this from CBS in Philadelphia today: Florida plans to contact the Eagles' Chip Kelly rally tomorrow. Yet the UAA took to Twitter this morning to deny all of these reports, stating we'll have no comment on the recent multiple reports, other than to say that we have yet made no job offers to anyone, and reports claiming that are false. We'll obviously have more on the search as information comes available. And one last football note, Gator Country reporting today, Matt Jones announced his intention to declare for the NFL draft. Jones leads the team in carries and yards this season. Well, meanwhile, Florida soccer team ends elitely, but perhaps not where these players hoped it would go. Where it went was a phenomenal season that ended in California on Friday night at the hands of Stanford in the NCAA Elite Eight, when the Gators played the Cardinals to a tie before losing in penalty kicks 4-3. A tough end for the team's 9 seniors, but the future is bright for Florida.
This is just the start of something really big for us. I think that this senior class and this team in particular has really laid the groundwork for future teams. They're the standard going forward.
Meanwhile, the volleyball team finished conference play last week with the 13th undefeated SEC slate in program history before closing the season with an enormous 5-set win over powerhouse Texas on Saturday. The Gators earned the 8th national seed. They'll host Miami, UCF, and Alabama State this weekend and open up the tournament against Alabama State on Friday night. And the women's basketball team back at home after notching its first road win of the season Friday night against Georgetown. Florida 3-0 in the O-Dome this year, but gets a tough test tonight against the 4-2 Virginia Tech Hokies. Stay up late with the Gators. Tip-off at 9 p.m. And guys, turn to the NFL really quickly. The Jaguars got their second win of the season yesterday. The Buccaneers are still winless at home. The Dolphins play on Monday Night Football tonight against the Jets. The Bears are out of hibernation, and they're hungry for revenge.
It wasn't one of our biggest rivals, but they've developed into a good program the last 2 or 3 years, so it's become more of a heated rivalry.
For Dixie County High School and head coach Brent Wilkerson, it's an opportunity to get some revenge on the state champion Trenton Tigers, the team that ended their season in the state semifinals last November.
Hey, we beat them all over the field, just didn't beat them on the board.
They better bring it in their house.
Emotions are running high, and not just from the players. Meanwhile, for the students at Trenton High School, it's more like another day at the office.
I think of Dixie County as like that little cousin that everybody has that always looks up to you and you just always beat up.
And for the players, it's business as usual.
It's a big game, and we got to play well. They're going to be coached well, and we know we got to play our best.
For a growing rivalry between small-town schools, there won't be an empty seat in the house.
Everybody all week's been actually past couple weeks, are you ready for Trenton?
They say there's people from the Panhandle buying tickets. There's people from everywhere buying tickets Monday. So it's supposed to be the biggest game around here.
But this rivalry runs deeper than just Friday Night Lights fanfare.
Hey, safety and safety. There you go.
Most of Trenton's coaching staff comes from Wilkerson's coaching tree, and Dixie County's quarterback is actually the nephew of Trenton head coach Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, my nephew's a quarterback, but, family's family, football's football this week.
A rivalry matchup.
Hey, if I can take up him and a guard.
A community event. A family affair.
The defense coordinator over there is my brother.
There won't be a state title berth on the line this time. But for a Friday night in September, the stakes don't get much higher than this. Marc Whiteman, WUFT Sports.
I want to be one of the great ones when it's all said and done.
And just like that, the coronation of Dante Fowler Jr., bona fide first-round stud and the crown jewel of Florida's Pro Day began. Among the other Gators drawing scouts' eyes, tackle DJ Humphreys. He worked hard this offseason to put on 20 pounds of weight the right way.
When I was in college, my whole thought process was stuff as many calories in my face as I can, eat a whole pizza before I go to sleep type deal, you know what I mean? So I just had to learn that I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? I can eat the right stuff. I can eat grilled chicken and the right type of pastas and stuff like that and just eat a lot of it and still gain good weight.
With his athleticism on full display, Humphreys has skyrocketed up draft boards into the first round.
Humphreys is probably got the most athletic feet in the draft for any of the offensive linemen. He's a first-round tackle.
Pittsburgh's head coach Mike Tomlin was the biggest name in attendance, a reality not lost on the players, according to Gator great and SEC Network analyst Chris Doring.
It makes it that much more real when a guy like Mike Tomlin is walking out here as opposed to scouts that are maybe nameless to you. So I think that the thing that kind of separates guys now is that sense of urgency.
Look no further for urgency than Leon Orr. The talented but troubled defensive lineman was kicked off the team in November, but participated in Florida's Pro Day and impressed with both his athleticism and maturity.
Recently, I've talked to the head coach, and we're really good, and I'm really good with the program right now. So I'm really appreciative to be able to come back and be around my fellow teammates again.
And while countless others, Matt Jones, Neron Ball, Max Garcia, Trenton Brown, among them impressed, it all circled back around like the throng of reporters around him to Fowler.
I didn't make it yet, I didn't even get my name called, and I didn't play it down in the NFL yet. And I want to show those guys that, I'm here. And when I say I'm here to stay for a little minute.
Marc Whiteman, WUFT Sports.